Hey everyone, welcome back to another fun and easy English lesson. Have you ever come across sentences like, I have had a busy day, or she has had a headache since morning? And you're like, why is have and had or has and had together in one sentence? Well, you're not alone. Many English learners get confused when they see have had and has had in one sentence. But don't worry. Today, I'm going to break it down for you in the simplest way possible. By the end of this lesson, you will be using these structures confidently in your own conversations. I'm Ananya, your English trainer. Come on, let's get started. Now, before we talk about have had and has had, let's first understand how have, has, and had work individually in one sentence. Now, both have and has show possession, that means ownership, or actions or habits. Now, we use have with subjects like I, you, we, they. For example, I have an apple. It means I own an apple. It shows possession. We use has with he, she, and it. Example, she has a pet dog. She owns a dog. Now, have and has are also used for actions and habits. Example, they have breakfast at 8 a.m. It's a daily habit. She has a meeting at noon. It's a scheduled event. So remember, have and has are used in the present to talk about what someone owns or what someone does. Now coming to had. Had is the past form of have and has. We use had when talking about something that existed or happened in the past. Example, I had a bicycle when I was a kid. This means I owned a bicycle in the past, but not now. She had a great time at the party. Here we are talking about her experience in the past. They had breakfast early today. Now this is a completed action in the past. So, had is used for the past, whether it's possession, which means something you owned, or an action, which means something you did. Now that we have understood have, has, and had separately, let's move on to the main topic of today's lesson. Why do we use have had and has had together in a sentence? When we say have had or has had, we use the present perfect tense. For example, I have an apple in my bag. Now, this is simple present tense and it shows possession. It shows what I own. I own an apple. But when I say I have had an apple, do I have the apple now in my bag? No. Maybe I have eaten it. So the action of eating is finished in the past and its effect is still in the present. This means I'm not hungry now. Similarly, if we change the subject to he or she, he has an apple in the bag. He has had an apple. Possibly he's eaten the apple. Or she has an apple. She has had an apple. I hope everything is clear until now. Now take a look at this sentence. I have an apple in the morning. Now this sentence shows my habit. It shows what I do every morning. But if I say I eat an apple in the morning, does the meaning change? The meaning of the sentence remains the same. This is an exception. Have is generally used to show possession or ownership. But we can replace it with the action eat. So if I have to use have and had together, I can say, I have had an apple. Note one thing. In this sentence, we cannot add in the morning because this is a present perfect tense. And in present perfect tense sentences, time is not important. It doesn't matter when I ate the apple. Alright, Now to summarize, we use have or has plus had for two things. First, we use it when something started in the past but is still relevant now. And second, it's used to describe experiences or things that have happened over time. Come on, let's take a look at some examples. I have had this phone for 5 years. This means I got it in the past and I still have it. The effect is still there in the present. She has had a headache since this morning. This means her headache started earlier and it's still there. They have had this problem for months, which means the problem started months ago and still exists. We have had a wonderful relationship for many years. This means our relationship started in the past and continues to be good. Now, all these sentences describe that something started in the past but is still relevant now. Now, you might wonder, why have I used time expressions with have had or has had? Kindly understand. In all these sentences, we are talking about someone's state or possession and not an action. So when we use have has or has had to show possession or a state, we use time expressions. But when the sentence has some action, we do not use time expressions in present perfect. Now, let's look at some examples to describe experiences or things that have happened over time. For example, I have had many opportunities to improve my English. This means over time, I have received many chances to do it. She has had several job interviews this week, which means she has attended many interviews, multiple interviews over time. They have had many discussions about buying a new house. Here it means they talked about it multiple times in the past and it's still a topic of discussion. He has had a lot of ups and downs in his career. Here it means he experienced good and bad moments throughout his career. This means something that happened over time. Now let's test your understanding. Let's see how much you have understood this lesson. You have 5 sentences on your screen. You have to fill the blanks with either have had or has had. It'll depend on the subject. Come on, let's solve the first one together. I have had a tough week at work. The subject is I, so I'm going to use have had. You can take a screenshot or pause the video here and solve the exercise. Let me know your answers in the comments. So that's all for today. Now you know exactly when and how to use have had and has had in your sentences. So next time when you hear someone say, I have had a wonderful experience learning English with Ananya, you'll know exactly why they used it. Now, if you found this lesson helpful, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel. Also, drop your answers to the exercise in the comments below. I'll see you in the next lesson. Happy learning!